What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, boy, we have something to talk about. I was actually going to do a different Scream-related video, but we have Chris Landon announcing he's out, he's done, and I want to read the tweet because the tweet honestly sounds very depressing when I read it, like, in my head. We'll see if you guys maybe feel the same way, but let's talk about it and let's see what this means for Scream 7 going forward. I mean, spoilers, and to kind of just say it early, very quickly, and then we'll go into it later. I don't think it's good news. I think this continues a very bad trend. It does indicate still like a full-on like reboot in the sense of let's just restart all of the casting, let's restart the directing, but the writers stay, so that's like the one kind of constant, right? It's not a good look. Absolutely it's not. So let's read his tweet. I guess now is as good a time as any to announce I formally exited Scream 7 weeks ago. This will disappoint some and delight others. It was a dream job that turned into a nightmare, and my heart did break for everyone involved. Everyone. But it's time to move on. I have nothing more to add to the conversation other than I hope Wes's legacy thrives and lifts above the din of a divided world. What he and Kevin created is something amazing, and I was honored to have even the briefest moment basking in their glow. So again, I read that as very like demoralizing, that he not only is disappointed, but he's literally done with it. And I think anybody can kind of sense that, from what he said. So, he says weeks ago, and Thanksgiving was, like, right before Thanksgiving, American Thanksgiving, right, was when the whole Melissa Barrera drama started, or I guess ended, right, because maybe behind the scenes it was even before then. But, okay, so that all came out. He tweeted even when that happened. He didn't seem very happy. He kind of seemed shocked, talking about that it wasn't his choice to do it. I have to imagine, if you're just looking at the timeline, he exited then. He saw that, knew he maybe was not clued in to anything that, again, if there was already discussions about Jenna, there was already discussions about Melissa, I would imagine he wasn't clued in. They decided, they fired them, whatever, they left, and then he quit right after, probably right around, that Thanksgiving period. Now, I would say, why is he responding? Not that some of the tweets directed at him are all that great. In fact, they make the Scream community look like they're morons, right? But he's responding. He was just responding to a tweet like yesterday, somebody complaining about like ruining Wes's legacy, which again is idiotic, and it just makes the Scream fandom look stupid, even though we're not. So I hate people that actually do that. But he's responding as if he was still part of it. So I don't really know why he was doing that. He probably, honestly, shouldn't have done it. But you know what? Again, honestly, doesn't really matter. Like where we're at now, it doesn't matter. So that's the news part, right? He's out. What does it mean going forward? Well, like I said, I have to imagine this is just wiping the, and I always, because I'm into hockey, right? I watch my Buffalo Sabres lose year after year. So I think about it in like a sports analogy where when you have somebody new kind of coming in, right? Like if you get a new general manager, they normally wipe everything out, right? If you had a coach that was from the previous general manager, that coach is gone, the assistant coaches are gone, maybe half the team will eventually be gone, right? Because the new person wants to bring in all of their own people. And I mean, to stop the sports part of it, well, what does that mean for this? I kind of get the same feeling. The writers are that oddball that don't really make sense, right? So the writers are staying, and that kind of side of it is staying, but everything else, right? Once you lose the two main characters, and main characters is in Sam and Tara, they are the main characters of Scream 5 and 6. Once they're gone, and the way that happened, now, I guess the way I just said it was more about, like, was he fired? Was he let go? He makes it sound, in fact, when he said, I exited, he makes it sound like he did it on his own, right? So almost, I guess if we're really thinking about this, it's what I just said in the sports analogy, but it didn't go down that way. He saw himself out, right? He saw the changes, and maybe there's more changes behind the scenes we don't even know about, right? He saw the changes, and he said, I'll see myself out, right? Just kind of restart everything. And what does it mean for the future? Well, I was kind of excited for him. You didn't, like, I'm not into horror. I don't know a lot of names that are out there. I did actually know of him, though, because of Happy Death Day. I actually really like Happy Death Day, so that made sense to me. So without him, without Radio Silence with Matt and Tyler, you guys I'm sure probably know way more names than I do. I really have none on the top of my head, but I think his style would have worked extremely well. And, we've said this before, like we've said this actually with Matt and Tyler and also with Chris. what's very important with Scream, and obviously this doesn't apply to everybody, these executives obviously don't care, but what you need when you make a Scream movie is people that genuinely care about the franchise. And we've kind of gotten lucky, since Wes has been gone. You've had people that always talk about respecting the legacy, and whether they do a good job or right, like more subjective things, whether the movie is not up to your standards or not. Honestly, on the more human level, and by the way, like that is very important. The quality of the movie is very important. So you want somebody who can like do a good job. But from the human element of like caring about the franchise, because honestly, I've said this before, like in Hollywood, I don't always get the vibe that people care. I don't always get the vibe that writers that are writing certain things care about the characters they're writing for. I think they're in it for other reasons many times, especially with the bigger stuff. And Scream is bigger, right? Like it's not comparable to like Disney or anything like that, but in its own little circle, this is one of the bigger franchises. So you don't it's not a guarantee. It's not a guarantee a director comes in and is just like in love with Wes Craven. You could, and this has happened before, you could get somebody that kind of comes out there and says, yeah, I kind of want to do things my own way. Like it was what it was, but we're kind of going in a different direction. That's happened before. Or writers that, kind of want to change characters or just don't care about characters. This happens all the time. So we've been lucky, at least in that. Again, like the quality is separate, but at least in the care for the product, we've been very lucky with Scream 5 and 6. And then we had Chris Landon, even past like Matt and Tyler, right? And we got lucky again, is going into Scream 7. Obviously, the executives don't care. Like, they just want the money, right? But when it comes to the directing, when it comes to the actors, even the actors have been kind of lucky too. Like, they actually know that Melissa and Jenna genuinely, to me, seem like they've seen the movies. I think a lot of people lie. A lot of actors, I feel like they lie about like watching past stuff like in a franchise. I don't get that from them. I think they actually care. I think they actually have their favorite moments, their favorite movie, all that stuff. So we got lucky. And now we have to roll, and like that's my point, right? The biggest thing I think this impacts going forward, you could talk about like the Nev impact too, but going forward, you're rolling the dice again to see you have a 50-50 shot of them, being in the know and caring and all that, or not. And so that's not good. You could also argue, well, without a director, like, are they still hell-bound on getting this thing out like as quickly as they can? I actually think, yeah. I think there's probably other directors out there that they could, phone up. And, again, it's going to always be like this awkward, even with Nev, right? And we've talked about this in past videos, like, you just have to kind of hope that, I guess, they either don't care about what just happened, or you apologize to them, you offer them more money, whatever like the route is to kind of forget about the past, or at least move past it just in general, right? And get these people on board. Well, you have to try that with Nev Campbell and even like Patrick Dempsey, right? You got to do that. Now you got to do it with another director, right? Because when Chris was getting into this thing, you already were kind of, I don't know this for sure, but like when Chris is approached, you have to think, well, we let Matt and Tyler go because, I mean, they did a really good job and we like them, but we want this thing out quick. They can't get it to us quick. Maybe they want to do their own thing. I would assume that maybe not like massively awkward, but that was probably already at least a little, you know what I mean? Where it's like, well, why did you dump those two? Like, you're going to dump me? Right? Like, so like, that's how at least I imagine it. Well, now you got to go to another director and say, yeah, we did what we did with Matt and Tyler. We did what we did with Chris. Like, we brought him in, then we destroyed everything around him. He got mad and he left, and now we kind of want you. And it's like, well, why would that person want to be part of this project, right? So you got a lot of, like, bridges you need to build over and make sure everything's okay for these new people. And that, I think, in terms of, well, when are we getting the movie? That's what I think applies to that. So I think you need people that obviously care about Scream. That's one thing you have to do. And you also have to find people that either don't care about what's just happened, or you can, bridge the gap and say, hey, it's all okay. Like, we didn't, a lot of that stuff wasn't in our control. Chris left. Like, that was his choice. That wasn't our choice. I don't know. You have to make it sound good, right? Obviously, I'll be making videos whenever anything happens. We'll see. I mean, now, like, you got to not just get Nev and the rest of the cast, whoever's going to sign on to this thing, whether they are going to film in 2024 or not. now you need to find a freaking director, so that's not great either. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Merry early Christmas or happy holidays. This is the last Scream video you'll see until after Christmas. So thank you all for the support this year. It has been a wild. I don't think we would have saw this coming going into 2023, but thank you all for the support. Obviously, Scream content continues in 2024. Looking forward to it. I think it's going to also be pretty different. And I hope to see you guys there.